Good evening, everybody. How are you? I hope you having a great weekend. And welcome to Cognos BI Class 2. And today we'll be talking about Framework Manager. I hope you have done the labs from the last week class, which I have emailed to all of you guys. And again, if you have any issue about today's class or previous class or any other topic around Cognos BI, you can email me on cognos.class.10.2.2 @gmail.com. So class 2, and we'll be talking about Framework Manager. Let's go through the objective of the today's class. After having this session completed, you will be familiar with Framework Manager and the workflow process, how you create your project, maintain your project, create filters, models, create relationships in the Framework Manager. You will be able to create a baseline project, identify facts and dimensions, examining relationship and cardinalities, create calculated query items, type of filters and create filters, star schemas, consolidate models for presentation layer, use tools to analyze the model, create and publish a package. And let's go through one by one. And while we'll be doing all these, I will take you through how you will work with Cognos Framework Manager and how you will create models. We'll be using SQL Server for as its source data. So the first thing is what is a framework manager? Why do we need this? Framework Manager is a semantic layer of Cognos and it's a metadata modeling tool. I assume everybody aware about metadata. Um, let's take a scenario where we have multiple data sources like multidimensional DB, semi-structured data, and all these data sources are connected to enterprise data warehouse. You can create a simplified metadata information that are retrieved from these sources. The kind of activities are done using Cognos tool, and hence IBM Cognos Framework Manager can be called a metadata modeling tool. It is a business tool which is used to create simplified business statistics from various data sources. These metadata can be published as package and can be stored in a relational database to create OLAP style queries. This type of model is known as dimensionally model relation DMR. IBM Cognos 10 Framework Manager manages the semantic layer of Cognos 10 development. The main focus is creating a user-friendly, comprehensive model that provide repeatable and predictable query results. So in this diagram, I have taken SQL Server, CSV files, and XML file because this is what we'll be working during our Cognos BI journey. The Cognos Framework Manager is the intermediate layer between Cognos BI objects and all of your data sources. If you want to create a report, if you want to create a query package, if you want to create a analysis package or any other object in Cognos BI, you need a framework manager layer to achieve your goals. Okay, so framework manager is a place where you create um, all your models, your dimensions, your relations, your fact tables, and we'll see how we'll do that. Okay, now the question is, how does it look? This is how Cognos Framework Manager look like. When you open Manager tool, this is how it looks. So in the far left corner, you will see the project viewer, which provide four main components. First one is the model, second one is the data source, fourth is the parameter maps, and fifth is the package. In this middle section, you will see the big window. This is the work area. Whatever option, whatever component you will select in the project viewer, in the middle section you will see the all possible options available for that particular component, and this is where you will work. In the right hand side, you will see the project window, default language, um, all other statistics and task window. At the bottom here, you will see a property window. Basically, whatever option you will select, it will display the property of that object, and you can change the properties of the object as per your business requirements, as per project requirements here. Okay, let's create first Cognos project using Framework Manager. So you can open Framework Manager using Cognos 10 installation. It depends what type of client installation you're having. For me, I have created a separate Cognos Framework Manager installation under Cognos 10 Framework Manager. You might have like the Framework Manager under Cognos 10 version. So let's open this here. So when you open, it will ask for you to create a new project, open a new project, or to manage your projects. You can create a new project by clicking this white color open new option on your toolbar, or you can create from the menu bar using file and new. So there are three options in this create window. First is the project name, second is the location, and third is use dynamic mode. So let's talk about these one by one. So first you need to name the project and say okay, demo FM. Okay, in here you can see when it's creating a default file demo FM, the name you have given to your project and .cpf. This is the main framework manager project file. Underneath you can see use dynamic query mode. With Cognos there are two types of query mode. The dynamic query mode, this is called DQM and CQM. We'll talk about both of the query mode bit later in the next class. So we'll be having three classes, three sessions of Framework Manager. This is the first session, and the second session we'll doing the DMR models, dynamic dimensionally relation, dimensionally model relation. At that time, we'll be talking about dynamic query mode. So let's untick this for now and just say, all right, okay. We'll ask the language. You can select any language, but here we'll be selecting English and just say cancel. All right. So you can see the window here. This is the project window. This is the main working area where you will work with your all of your options. Here is the property window, and then default language, active language, namespace. At the moment there is only one namespace. Okay, and these are the tasks we'll talk about as we go deep into the session. So let's talk about this project here window where you can see demo FM, which is the name of the project, and underneath demo there are four components. So in one project you can have multiple models, and in under one model you will create your dimensions and your facts, your filters and everything. Okay, so I will change the name of this model. I will say finance. You can change the name from here. or you can change the name using the property window. Okay, you can describe, give a description to it. Say finance reports and query objects. All right. So this is the icon here. You can see this is a called namespace. So we'll create few namespace underneath. First is data layer, and I'll let you know why I'm creating these here. So let's delete. Okay, so now you can see a namespace basically provide a functionality to group the objects, to group the similar object. In under this model, the finance model, I created three layers: data layer, business layer, and user layer. Data layer I've created to keep all my data objects as it is. So this layer will link to my data source, and my business logic, whatever I will do, I will apply here in business layer, and presentation layer will just keep the user layer, which is the Cognos BI layer objects. Okay, so this is the isolation for the data flow from your source to your user. Um, okay, next thing we'll do, so you can say, like, you can double click, it will give you here, it will show you what are the options for this you can do. So let's create the first thing. You need a data connection. So first select the model, go to the action, and run metadata wizard. All right. So here, this is the window you have seen when we created the project, and it asks, okay, you want to create a new data source, or you want to use the existing data source. So press next. So these are the existing data source available in our Cognos configuration. I will show you where they live. This is our Cognos connection. So we'll go to launch, Cognos admin, configuration, and you can see here these all these connections, data source connection live here. Delete these two, and I will go back. Okay, that's fine. I will create a new for now. Next. Okay, so you have to supply a unique name. Every single data source should have a unique name. For this, we'll say FM demo Eve 5:30 finance reports, and we'll say go sales EGW, and I will show you why we are giving a screen dip and where the screen dip will come to play, and what do you mean by description, and where it will see later in this in our journey. So all right, so in this data source data connection, where the second window you will see to supply what type of connection, what type of data source you are using. So you can create ODBC, you can create OLADB, you can create analysis services, you can create Oracle, you can create all sort of SAP, Siebel, or TM1, Teradata, any type of. So for now, we'll be creating an OLADB for SQL Server. Now Well, the second thing is use the default gateway. Okay, default. What do you mean by gateway, and why the default gateway? We'll be we'll talk about the gateway and everything associated with gateway in our Cognos BI admin class. So for now, just select the default gateway, and here is saying configure JDBC connection. The IBM Cognos environment is a Java-based platform, and you need to configure a JDBC, which is called Java Database Connectivity. You need to configure this because Cognos platform will talk to a data source through JDBC source only, JDBC connection only. So this need to be done. All right, in the third window, you will see basic configuration items. So first thing is the server. For now will be in the home PC. Server name. In case of instance, you need to name server name and instance name. But here we're having server, so will be a server. Let's see our SQL Server environment. So our instance is local instance, and our PC name is home PC, and we'll be using Go Sales EDW. So our database name is Go Sales EDW, and we need to supply a password. We'll be using EDW data extract user and password. Okay, so first set of information is configured. We'll just go and test it. This is a good practice to test. Okay, succeeded. Okay, so that's done. Now we'll configure the JDBC driver. So you need to supply the same information again. Home PC. Default port for SQL is 1433. If you are running multiple instances, you have to go to SQL Server configuration and find out the port number your SQL Server instance is running. Instance name is the local host, so home PC, name of the PC. Database name is Go Sales EDW. And then test connection, test it, succeeded, close it, and then finish it. So you successfully created a connection here. Now it's refreshed, and you select this and you go to next. Here it will show you all SQL Server schemas you just configured here. So we'll be using Go Sales EDW, and we'll show you tables. We will work with tables, views, synonyms, procedures, function one by one. So let's start with tables. We'll display all the tables. We'll select few objects. So as we are working on the finance, the name of the project is finance. So we'll select some of the finance object. Say fact, account name lookup. I hope you will be aware about the Go Sales data warehouse. This is the default database come with Cognos BI. If you don't, just drop an email and I will arrange a separate session for you. I will go through the data structure. Then go.orgdim, name lookup, and go time dim. Okay, so we selected 5 of these objects for now. So press next. Okay, one of the important thing here is saying use primary and foreign key. What does it mean? It means if you keep selecting this, Framework Manager will bring all primary key and foreign keys associated with all these objects we are importing. But for now, we don't want to do that. We want to create all these relationships in our model. So we'll untick it and we'll press import, saying this one the information you're importing, the objects information. We're importing 6 objects. Here you go. All 6 objects are here. What we'll do, we'll select these and we move it in data layer. So now you will have a bit of understanding why we are creating these 6 layers. Under data layer is connected to your data source, and if there are data changes happening into the source environment, these changes will not affect your presentation layer, say name change or anything, all these things will be maintained under business layer, and user layer will be unaffected. Okay, so that's why we are isolating these 3 layers in 3 different namespaces. Okay, so when you double click data layer, it will give you an option. As I said, this is the workplace where you will work the for the option you are working. We are selecting the data layer, it giving us okay diagram, dimension map, explorer. Explorer is the place where you will see all all available objects, and diagram, this is where you will create the relations. But before we create the relation, we'll go to explore, and we'll talk about these dimensions and the fact we just import it from our data source. So the good practice is you drag the fact at the bottom, okay, and keep because these are the group of the dimensions, so keep them and bring the time dimension to top count, or like this. This is my way to do things. And you can see this icon here. There's a container in the corner, very small container, and there's a L shape mark here, yellow color. Okay, the significance of the container is it's telling you the source of this object, this query subject is a database. And this L signifies this is a fact table, but this is not true. So we'll fix it. So when we are working with the framework manager, these are not called table, these are called query subjects, and we'll use the same language. So namespace, query subject, and then query items. Okay, let's so again there's a 3 direction arrow here. This signifies this is an identifier. So this is not true, this is not the identifier, so we'll change the identifier uses. So uses with, so this is an attribute. I assume you are aware of, you have full knowledge of what is an attribute, what is a identifier, what is a fact. If you don't, just drop an email me and we'll arrange something. Okay, okay, so whether you can do one by one or whether you select all these like what I did. Okay, let's do it. Select, shift, and the last one. And because in the real time you will be working on big projects, big tables, so it won't be a good idea to fix that one by one. So attribute, this is an attribute, and so a dimension table can hold only a identifier. Identifier is used to identify every single row, and it's a unique for every row. So a dimension table can hold only identifier and the attributes. Then this is again the similar way I will fix. So this is the first thing you will do whenever you start a new project in or a new model in Framework Manager. And this is at the bottom, this is a fact table. So in a fact you can have only identifier and the numeric values. All these properties, will go one by one as we will go in our Cognos BI journey, like description, tooltips, format, everything will do. For now, my intentions is creating a project, creating a model. In the model, creating a physical layer, which is the data layer, then business layer and user layer, create a package and then publish it. So again, so that we can have a framework manager model to work to create our reports and other objects. And as we will go in other session, we'll create this is called relational model, and in the next session we'll create dimensional model. So let's concentrate what we are doing here now. As our physical layer is almost ready to create the relation here, so we'll go into the diagram. We'll organize our tables in a star like. Okay, so fin org lookup count. Okay, so always keep your fact in the middle and then your dimension around your fact, because this is not a true star schema, this is a snowflake, because um, this these dimensions are connected, having further link to another other tables for lookup. But we can arrange another session, not now, to find out the differences between a snowflake and a star schema. So let's create our first relation. To create a relation, select the key in the, let's create the first relation for the time dimension, which is the key is the month. Key is the month. All right. So select the key in the dimension table. Press this relation icon here. Tap here, and then drag from dimension to your fact. Okay. So when you will do this, your dimension come in the left side and your fact come in the right side. And here you can see some cardinality. Today we'll talk about one to many, and in other session we'll talk about many to many and left join, right join, outer full outer join, all these things. Okay. If we delete this, okay, so you can create the link like this. Select the key in this, select the key in this object, and they will join. Okay. And then okay, what does it mean? So it means every month in this fact, every month in here in the dimension having one or many relation in the fact table. Okay, this is an inner join. If there's a dimension record which does not have anything here, it won't come under the relation. So let's generate the SQL, how it looks. You can see there is no issue, it's looking perfectly all right. You can test it. Okay, it's displaying everything all right. You can validate and just say all right. So our first relation, we are just finished with our first relation. Similarly, we'll create another relations. So far, if you have any question, just let me know and I will answer all your question, or you can come, you can ring me, you can email me at the end of this session and we'll go through all your questions. Just create another relation, account to account. All right, validate. The reason for validation is I will tell you when we'll create the package. So what I will do, I will leave one without validating. One relation I will leave without validating, so that you can understand why validation is necessary. So I won't validate this one. So we'll leave it like this. And I will leave this as well. So we just finished with our data layer. So what we did in the data layer, let's just go through again. We define correctly all our query items, whether they are classified as identifier or attribute or facts. Then we create the relations. Okay, let's close this now. We'll go to the next layer, the business layer. What we do in business layer is basically we change these names because the business people do not understand, do not like this sort of language. What does it mean? Nothing. Okay, so we'll make these query items name more user friendly to our business users, because this is BI, this is business intelligence reports, and used by cost center managers or more, upper level managers in the organization. So it should be neat and clean and very user friendly. That's where business layer come into the picture. So, and why we keep data layer, just so that any change in the data source won't affect our reports objects. Okay, we will handle all data changes into the data source in the data layer. Create new query subject. Now just cancel it. So you can see there are multiple things: calculation, filter, namespace, query subject, folder, relations, measures, dimension, regular dimension. So we have already done the namespace. Okay, we already created the relation. Now we're creating the query subject. And this is how we'll go through one by one, so that you will understand what does all these different components in framework management means. And this is how we should do. We'll keep creating objects, we'll keep creating projects, we'll keep adding stuff to our existing models, and we'll learn different aspect of all these BI tools we're going to learn during our Cognos BI course. So let's name it month. So in here you can see model, data source, and stored procedure. Okay, so this is not this query subject we are creating is not linked to data source tables. Okay, so this is linked to the model, and this is not a stored procedure. Okay, so that's why the default is model. Okay, let's do it. Okay, and for this we need the month. You just double click it and will be, you can do multiple as well, but we'll do one by one. We need year, we need quarter, we need we need month name. Okay, so in this window, this is the available fields, available objects so far in your project. Then filters and determinants will talk down the line. Okay, and then you can test it. All right, and then query. Okay, this is how when you will work on big projects and more objects, more tables, more query subject, it is good practice to basically examine these queries. This is SQL query and this is a native. This is Cognos SQL and this is a native SQL. Okay, and you will understand the differences as we go. Now here you can use these buttons to change the location, the position of your query subjects, query items. So I would like to move my month name at the top and then month number. Then I would like to have my year move at the bottom, and then I will change the names. Month name. Alright, I would like to show you one thing. You can see in the quarter, you have a quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, okay? But what I'm saying, quarter name. So we'll visit this and then you will understand why I said quarter name, okay? We'll validate this and it's created. So now you can see from the difference between your data layer and your business layer is the data layer is for the technical people like me and you, but this business layer is completely for the business people, the business users. We understand this, okay? We know what does it mean, but for the business people, they don't want to know this. They want to know, okay, where is my month? Where is my quarter? Where is my year? Okay, and that's why we keep like this. Okay, I will create all rest of the query subjects as I have created this. Okay, this is important. So far, we have created three query subject for our dimensions. Now we got a fact table, and I would like to name this measure because this will hold all your measures. And then similar down year date. All right. Okay, so we're done with it. We completed both of the layers. Now we'll create the shortcuts. Mode here. The reason of the shortcut is we don't want to do anything. We just want to create the shortcut because we don't want to do any. We don't want to apply any logic in the presentation layer. We don't want to let anybody play with this layer, so we just create it so you won't be able to do anything with it with these objects. Okay, now I will create. So far, let's go through one. So far, what we did, we created a name, we created namespace, we created query subject, we created relation, we created a major dimension as well, we created shortcuts. Okay, in next session we'll go calculation, filters, and the regular dimension folders will create. Okay, let's create now and we'll work with parameter maps as well in the next session or maybe in the last session. Okay, let's create a package. So I want to name it report reports finance. This package is for finance reports and queries. Right. 110. Same, I'll copy this. I will show you all this stuff. Now, as we are creating package to be published for users and the report writers uses. So we don't need to publish our data layer. We don't need to publish our business layer, and we just need to publish our user layer. In this window, you will select, okay, what sort of functionality you want to attach with the published package. And more, as our backend is SQL Server, so we say, okay, attach the SQL Server functionality, okay, and then finish. Okay, so created. Now this window here will ask for where you want to publish this, and we'll say, okay, publish under this folder, okay, public demo. Next. Now, I left a object unvalidated, so you will say why, what is the significance of validation. All right, that's